deck can't have all new cards, so there's going to be some reprints. I thought we'd go through and take a gander at what we can sort of guess, right? We might be doing the deck. I think weirdly everyone's, probably most people's actually, top pick is like Oaken Hold, considering it's not an older spec, right? Despite him, card referencing him and the prime and center and the artwork. But nonetheless, yander through all the different cards and see what we can find. Might even find some maintenance drops, that's improved. Wait for facts. Love a tunic. I guess I'll take another Cheyenne. We'll see what we end up finding. Alright, so everything juicy. Starts the back. Nada. At this point in time, I don't need any foils. Well, I could really go through my grading collection and also talking that my volume's down, but the music volume's actually down, so I'm probably a little bit muffled, right? And I don't know if the box is close enough to hear the pack rips, but we'll see. Alright. Dauntless. Flood of Force. That's actually an interesting M, right? I do like Flood of Force. I like all the, try and reveal another attack and keep the chain going type mechanic before it became just search and unleash the unrelentless torrent. Alright, Bolts, Towering Titan, Dauntless. Is this game picked up? I think so, yeah. Good. Well, these aren't as fun to tear, right? Because they've got the tab. I'll just brute force it and foil Share. Pretty nice. I will put that aside. Oh, and another Share in the back. Makes it kind of less unique. Alright. Choke Slam, Absorption Dome for another M. Absorption Dome is as was pointed out to me, is the rent damage that would deal equal to the number of steam count. Nope, that's not the one. There was one that was, if you would take 1 damage, don't, right? And that was the hard rune chant counter for Mechanologist. We'll have to see if they pop up a ton in the meta, right? Because Visari, it doesn't stick in my head which way you meant to pronounce it. Either way, he's been quite prevalent on the rise. And of course, with the Armory deck, I'd assume, dashes as well. But I kind of like the stuff for Klloo a little bit more. Granted, he's still way too slow. Wow, no, the meta has slowed down, actually. I don't think many people have enough play experience against Klloo. Because some of his cards, once he gets going, can be really devastating. It's just, the slowish deck. Normal copper token. Well, unlimited copper token, I should say. More sites. Runeblade Barrier. There, try again. Runeblood Barrier. It's actually a nice card. Right, creates a size amount of rune chant tokens, and then there will become defensive. Assault, Reinforce, Well, how many? We're at 3. I'm guessing so far. So 3 more to find. Tempo, Benji, Cool Light. Need to do something with all my bolts too. Yeah. Snapback. And don't mind snapback actually, right? It's it allowing you to play Princeton. Be quite the nice card to just throw into a chain of things. Brigand token for the foil. Dauntless, Conduit. Well, some of the fast weapons might be worth looking at, right? Because despite rarity changes, right, weapons usually follow a very, very similar trend, right? Stat-wise and everything, and even ability. So even though the Jarl's weapon is going to be a majestic, it probably won't be, swooped up comparatively. We will look through all the weapons currently available to Guardian, right? So we can do some thinking. Because at the very least, the Jarl's weapon is everything, right? James White has pointed out its creation and his love of the card. Aetherized. I don't think any of the Ken spells Foil's more foil though. That's quite nice, right? That copper and silver is just being shunned. I feel like all the gold effects should have been equivalent, right? So anytime it was pay 1 gold, it should have just been pay 2 silver or pay 3 copper. Just to keep them all relevant. That would have been nice. Alright. I think we're done for Majestics. Still might be something else. Nope, that's fine. Nice beast within. Good old staple. Now I think we're done with Majestics. As a barrel shot, as a foil, I should probably pull the foil weapons aside, right? Into a sleep dart, brain dance, speed impact. Meet and greets. Such an interesting card. Even looking at sort of how Runeblade has evolved, or even the majority of things. Actually, we'll talk about Sledge in a second, right? Because they've sort of opened up a lot of card dependency, would be the way to phrase it. But Sledge of the Envelheim is a interesting one to look at, right? Because it is statted, not necessarily the strongest, right? Because basically you go from requiring at most 1 card to always requiring 2 cards with a 4 pitch. But then in having 2 damage over all other Guardian weapons. Cool. Getting a lot of Runeblade cards. Rattle Bones, also a decent pull. Right, 2 packs left. There can't be another Majestic working, surely. But yet, Trader of Skins foil though. One day Merchant will shine. No M. Lucky last with its box. It's us. A Twinning Blade, though. It's actually decent. Alright. So, Pledge of the Envelheim, right? So pay for and just attack. And also mentions Iceland's Peak, which very much seems to be... right, I don't know if it's all the Olin's territory, according to the lore. Again, I'm not the biggest lore buff. But at the very least, we know that Jarl has been mentioned there a lot, and he has different eyes and blocked cards. So it is an interesting weapon. It features on some cards too, right? So when Iceland's Peak touches the heavens, mighty weapons fit for the gods are forged. Old Tale of the Elvenheim. So no, so this was used to forge weapons. Iceland's Peak. That's what I'm getting from that. Still though, right? It's a 2-handed, which makes it kind of bad, but we don't know if the Jarl's weapon will be 2-handed or not. And then, yeah, pay for 6 damage. It's also not too exciting, but we'll swap on over. I can remember out what I meant to click. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so currently these are the elemental weapons on offer, right? So, big old Jarl. Now his weapon is most likely his weapon, right? So we know it's a 6-card deck, right, with 1 legendary equipment. The fact that it's equipment, probably not going to be the weapon, because they do make that distinction. And 23 Majestics. Now it makes sense to me, right, given the counts. Take out the legendary, that still leaves 3 armor slots, so that brings it to 20. And 19, unless there's a legendary card, which there could be, right? Or, yeah, just a legendary card, right? Better off 18, which means a weapon and a shield. Plus, a lot of people have pointed out, right, that this is a counterbalance for his big-ass meat hook. What do you call this, right? It's not a hammer with the prongs. It'll be a mace, right? So since it has that counterweight, one-handed, right? Then he also has the nice glowing hand. So yeah, so it's either he has a legendary pulse or something, right, in his deck to smooth this over, so we still have playsets of everything else in the deck, right? Or he has a weapon and a shield, and I can see them doing a shield. I'm actually curious. Shields count as equipment? Either way, we'll start with the weapon, right? So, floated around a lot has been an earth pitching weapon, right? To counterbalance the big ice theme in the deck. while I can definitely see them doing it, something I'd like to point out is all of the armory decks so far have really been trying to showcase ease of use, right? And then being upgradable. So I could wholeheartedly see LSS making primarily ice-focused deck and leaving it up to the community to reshape it with powerful Earth Guards, right? Because even in the like games that they showcase, right? Think about how long they go on for. They do it in a very punctual way, and in that sense, they want decks that sort of don't fit the current meta. So while he should have some sense of Earth, maybe not the weapon, right? Maybe it's just that's everyone else's game plan. Because what I've seen floated around a lot, is you go through, you debilitate and build Frostbite, so you get to your second cycle, you've pitched away all your Earth cards, and then you go into all your big attacks. So having a Earth weapon does make sense, because you're pitching away all those big attacks to then get to your second cycle after you shredded all their armor, you've slowed them down with Frostbite, and then you start swinging. But at the same time, it feels like his weapon might be a bit more interesting if it sort of synergizes with tearing through armor, and it could be, as simple as it could still be, pitch an Earth Guard, but put a -1 counter, sort of like Pierce, but counter to Pierce, because although I've seen Pierce floated around as well, right? Problem with Pierce is any weapon with Pierce is probably going to be 3, because that's what fits the stat line for weapons, unless it's a 2-handed weapon, right? Meaning, why would you take Pierce over Redwood Hammer if it's still pitch an Earth Guard? Right? It's the same effect, except the +1 on the hammer, unless it's higher than PS1, is behind your opponent blocking with equipment that you will eventually degrade, right? Because that's Jarl's whole theme, is degrade their equipment, free up those zones, stick Frostbite in them, right? So Pierce just doesn't seem like it would matter over the course of the whole game, and again I think would be just a swap out to Redwood Hammer. So yeah, weapon-wise, right? I mean, we can sort of look at Winter's Wail, which is if an ice card is pitched this way, Winter's Wail gains if this hits hero, create a Frostbite token under their control. So it could be, again, something as simple as, we'll stick with the Earth theme. If an Earth card was pitched this way, whatever it's called, Jarl's Hook gains if this hits a hero, put a -1 counter on equipment they control, right? And depends whether or not they want to tie that into having to have the equipment block their weapon swing, I think would slow it down immensely. So I feel that kinda is where I'm leaning to continue building counters, and the whole counter game plan to normal Guardian is your weapon is only really beneficial early game. I mean, you'll still be able to swing with it late game, but it will be lower stat line compared to everything else that we're seeing, right? Which case, again, if the whole thing is just Frostbite into stalling out, right? Anthros is still tempting, aside for the 2-handed fact. Again, you see a shield, so what would you take? It'd probably still just be maybe Titan's Fist, right? That way you don't have to rely on specifically an Earth Guard. Feels like a 3 or greater in the pitch zone is just as achievable, right, as an Earth Guard. And then you still have the swing for 4. Yeah. That's the main thing to me to think about, right? What already exists and how it's different. So 2-handeds, maybe, right? Since we've got a whole string of 1-handeds lately. But then, if it is a 2-handed weapon, the other issue I have is a lot of people are just going to swap it out and take the shield. So where is the shield? Right, the Bastion of Ice and Loft, which is equipment, so that's good to know, right? Weapons are weapons, equipment. So the Bastion of Ice and Loft, which I could also see them putting in the deck, right? Doing shrunken art, in a sense. Slightly different, obviously not foil or anything. I can't see them. It's going to be weird if they stick a Cold Foil Legendary, or even a Rainbow Foil Legendary in the deck. I would honestly assume it's just going to be plain. That leaves it open to printing in a set, or of course doing promos for. But yeah, the Bastion of Ice and Loft, if his weapon is a 2-handed, I honestly think a lot of people will just drop it for a 1-hander and this, because this is just so good, right? When you defend with this, create Frostbite token. It's as simple as that, right? There's no condition to it. It's just the 2 times you block with this, unless you... Does Guardian have Counter removal for shields. I know they have counter removal for chest pieces, right? But yeah, just block frostbite, and that's pretty huge, right? And then we have Heart of Ice, which is the other big ice legendary. We also have Cornet's Peak, but I cannot see them doing Cornet's Peak, right? I could see either of these popping up in the deck rather than creating a new legendary. But we have once per turn, cards and activated abilities cost opposing heroes an additional 1 this turn, go again. Of course, Arcane Barrier, which seems very relevant for the meta, Blade Break, but still, a very decent reusable effect, right? Which sort of also goes against the burst chess pieces that we've seen lately. And then, of course, we know the 4 cards so far. Mangle, right? Again, ties into his effect, so I assume we'll get more support for debilitating armor. I think there's not that many cards that actually do it, right? What do we have? We have Buckling Blow, which is put a negative counter, Colossal Bearing, which is destroying equipment with 1 or less. Buckle's different, right? Next Guardian gains 1, and then destroying equipment with a -1 counter. Also for reference, right? These are cards that I can easily see being in the deck because again they fit the whole theme that Jarl seems to be going for. They expose the elements, which is Earth or Ice fusion. Right, so if it's fused with Earth, put a -1 counter. Fused with Ice, destroy equipment. So that I honestly think Exposed to the Elements is definitely going to be in the deck. It's just so up the alley, right? So far, my mentality, Majestic-wise, is what I'm most interested in, right? We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That would be the 18 Majestics, actually, right? Where's Buckle from? Dynasty. Yeah. Next Guardian attack this turn gains +1 and dominate when this hits hero, destroy equipment. Yeah, mainly because of destruction effect. If they don't want to invent more destruction effects, right? So that would be the 18 Majestics, right? And then you have 4 more pieces with a shield, so that brings it to 22 plus a weapon, 23, right? Yeah. So 1 legendary, and I guess we should make like a bingo list. My picks for the Majestics that appear, right? Because again, I can't see them just making a ton of new cards. There'll definitely be some other new cards that fit the theme. But so far what I'm basically showcasing is a lack of Earth, right? There'll still be some probably big hits, but then we have also cards that just reference or, have been ice staples, right? Probably not going to be in it. Blizzard or the Channel Bleak. Right, yeah. Try again. Pulse of Ice and Loft, right? Again, I can see this occupying that weird 1-card slot, given the number of Majestics that they've pointed out. But it's also, again, not really up to the game plan that we're seeing, right? It seems like you want to be playing a lot of your cards and, probably getting armor value rather than getting card value blocking. So Pulse is kind of a weird one for me, but then the fact that, it covers Earth and Ice. You also have Crumble to Eternity, which from their statistics, that and maybe a set of rares or commons, right, would be enough to cover the Earth bases needed for the fringe cards like Exposed to the Elements. We might not get any Fuse at all, to be honest. Seems like they are sort of stepping away from Fuse, but we have the All-In this, which is when Bolden enters your arena, if you control another non-token aura, draw a card. It does seem like LSS are trying to turn Guardian into aura, right? Aside from Seismic Surge. So, maybe. We have Emerging Avalanche. Actually, I didn't finish reading it, right? At the beginning of your action phase, destroy this, and the next Guardian attack gets +3, 4, and 5. So, decent. I don't like it, right? Because it's also anything anyone likes it for the cost. But we'll see. Unless you always get the draw card value. Right, Emerging Avalanche, Ice Fusion. If it enters the arena, if it was fused, create a Frostbite token under target hero's control. The horns to me, right? Would look correct? Yeah, maybe they're a bit too pointy. They're probably a bit too pointy, right? And then at the beginning of your active phase, again, another aura. Destroy this, next attack gets +1, 2, and 3. Then, of course, we have Oakenall, which is just a 3 for 7. It's pretty insane, let alone if you get the fuse off. If you get the fuse off, then it's devastating. And this would cover the fringe cost for a lot of cards. If he has a 2-handed weapon, it's probably going to be a 4 cost. We have Mangle at 4. We have, again, my pick, Colossal Bearing at 4. We have Buckle at 3, Exposed at 2, Buckling Blow at 4, right? So you basically pitch away a blue. and red, and you're done, right? And then that sets up Oak and Old for the future as well. Then we have Righteous Cleansing, which now I look at it closer is not. Can't be in, right? Could be. God. It's hard because obviously you've got multiple artists doing it, and then this is probably the final design. But Righteous Cleansing deals 4 or more damage, look at top 5 cards, banish 1. It's just a pretty nice staple M. But, again, I think we're sitting around 4 cost, and if I had to put my money on it, right, these are the Majestics I'm picking out. Buckle and Exposed Elements. Blizzard, good old staple for ice. Channel Bleak Expanse, heroes can't draw, reveal, or search decks from effects, right? The fact that wrecks you, we haven't really seen. Well, I guess the reveal cards if they're gonna stick to Fuse in this. Yeah, no, I don't like Blizzard or Channel actually featuring in the deck. And then Pulse of Ice and Lofts, which we also just talked about. But yeah, what equipment might he have? That's another thing that I do want to look into. So, it'd be insane, but I could see them making the legendary boots, right? Like, come on. Is it not crazy that Civic Steps is still just the really great boot slot, leg slot for Guardian, and then before that, wasn't it still just Iron Rod? So I could see them sticking a legendary into the boot slot. Now, we have seen that they do like to do full new sets of armor. So I could also see it being Heart of Ice, since to me, this does sort of match his armor set, right? A little bit. You've got the pointy bits. No, you know what? Because his midriff is more exposed. It's similar, but no, not close enough. Still, I can see it being Heart of Ice and then obviously making his helmet and arms and making a full, proper matching set of equipment for once for a hero, which would be pretty cool, right? And then to go with his weapon as well. But if it wasn't that, what could we see appear? Well, we're probably still in Majestics, so when we go Equipment, and then we go Majestics. And there's not really that much, right? Greater Fist, nope. Earthall Bounty, definitely not, considering they've got a draw? No, this is when you draw a card from effects. Greater Seismic Searched out. Yeah, once upon a time. See the Survivor. I guess there's not really any Majestic equipment that's going to work with the Jarl. So I guess all new equipment. Still just the legendary picks for me. But if we had to... Sorry, it's not my mic cutting. It's literally my throat. It's like very, very dry. I'm getting those weird air bubbles when you stop talking. Alright, but if we had to pick up some Earth cards, where would we sort of be looking? I don't think they try and stick Decompose into Jarl. I think that's just adding way too much to, again, the Armory deck that they generally like to simplify for ease of use. So if it had Ice and Ice Debilitation, Ice Fatigue, and then also Ice Fuse, and then Earth Fuse, and then also Decompose, there's a lot to teach in an Armory deck. So I don't see Decompose. I don't see his weapon featuring Decompose as well, right? And he also, even though he is Earth, he sort of seems a lot more geared towards Ice, thematically. Autumn's Touch, just as a staple attack, I can definitely see them chucking in there, right? Probably the red and the blue for your curve. So tomorrow, put target Earth or Elemental action card. So, again, if you're going into Fatigue, you want cards like that to recycle. So we could see So tomorrow. The problem is it only hits Elemental, unless there's a ton of Earth cards, right? So it can still hit like Oak and Old, it can still hit Exposed to the Elements in this case, it can still hit none of the other cards we've seen. Earthform, Evergreen, Flourish, I'm not really seeing too many standouts. Aside from just So and Autumn's Touch. Break Ground, you may put a card from your arsenal to draw a card. I mean, more block, maybe? What stats have they given these? 4 block, 3 block, 3 block. The fact that they're being generous And given what they did with Florian and Verdance, I don't think they're going to be focused on Embodiment of Earth, right? Because they sort of brought down the stats on their cards to sort of not depend, but synergize better with Embodiment of Earth. So I don't think that's going on here. And again, it's then a lot more to stick into it, try and generate embodiments of Earth, try and generate Frostbite. And they sort of accomplish the same thing. Frostbite just does it better, right? Because it slows down the damage that you're going to take. Decompose. Seeds of Tomorrow would be interesting. Yeah, no, I'm not really seeing, from my perspective, much Earth cards that actually stand out. I mean, is it still up? No, but I can probably do cards, right? Just search sets. Terra TTT. TCDFG. It's not. Is it? Oh, of course, it's First Strike. So, featuring in Terra's deck, what Earth cards do we sort of see? Canopy Shelter as a block. I can see them sticking a Frost Sigil in there, right, to keep up the thematics. 0, if it's greater than space, they discard a card. Yeah, just sticking Autumn Touch in there. I can definitely see them sticking the red and the blue Autumn's Touch into the Jarl's deck. We also have Earthbond. What was the lightning one? It was another weird keyword. So I could see them making probably just expose as a keyword, right? And your cards might just be, you know, if the opposing hero has a exposed armor slot, do X, right? Which would be fun. That's the problem. It's a bit too early, right, to really think. I think we are done for Majestics. I mean, it's already 3 new. Again, from my guess, there's 2 more Majestic slots still for cards. I suppose for the elements. It synergizes so well with the deck. Let's take a guess. Buckle, I'm a bit less certain on. Buckling Blow and Colossal Bearing. Problem is, Colossal Bearing requires you to have ample buffs, right? You need a 5 to actually get this to be Equipment Destruction, which again is sticking too many things into the deck, in my opinion, for them to function correctly. So probably not Colossal Bearing. Buckling Blow just being a crush effect on 4. I see them sticking them in. Maybe just the reds, right? Stick all the red attacks in. Some Earth Blues, something along that line, right? Definitely Autumn's Touch. A lot we could speculate on. I don't know why, I have a feeling the Legendary is going to be a reprint. This also helps it in other areas. The Archive. It was Shock Charmers, right? Shock Charmers got reprinted in the Japanese set. Rosetta. I don't know what's going to appear in the Archive. I can't see them sticking in like Channel Mount Heroic, or definitely not the Millennial Tree. Yeah, aside from Autumn Touch, it feels like we're due for new Earth cards that sort of fit the theme, right? And again, design-wise, what am I looking for? Tournament decks. Having all your ice cards be destroy your opponent's equipment, slow them down, and then having Earth cards with a new keyword, right, for expose, seems great, right? Or everything you throw at your opponent at the end of the game once you've just destroyed all their equipment. But I do want to look at old Doom decks. First place in Singapore. Brawl. Calling. They'll do, right? To sort of see what's taken. So they take Anthros. And I guess they're the offset. Right, if you need more armor. But looking at staples, right, again, it's mainly Autumn's Touch, because of the damage and the fact that it's blue pitchable. Oh, bucklings are still in this. That's what we didn't look at. We didn't look at elemental. Just looked at earth, and I pulled out all the ice cards. Right? So, elemental guardian. What do we have? Fighting Gale, Ice Fusion, discard a card unless they pay. The defense react, he seems like they're going to set him up to be a bit more aggressive. Entangle, it's... probably not. Gains Dominate, for a 6 cost, I think 6 is outside his realm. Right, it's very clear that all the New Age Guardians there sort of building it around 4. Mulch, Logfall, no wonder. Kind of just being drawn to the Frost cards, right? Because of how prevalent Frost is in his artwork. Might Generation, that doesn't seem correct either to me. Actually, not that much. And what about just straight up elemental cards? What do we miss? The Entwines. Flash Freeze, no, that's Lightning. Fulminate is Lightning as well. Is there an Earth Ice card? Right? You have Flash Freeze, you have Fulminate, and you have Flicker Wisp? The big buff ones? Yeah, no, I'm not saying anything super standout. Alright. Facial Footsteps. Because here's the main thing, right? If his deck doesn't pan out, at the very least, aside from the defensiveness, you can just be an almost carbon copy, right, of Oldhim. Since none of Oldhim cards are actual specs. Which is still a good starting blueprint, what you want to take. We should also look at the normal Guardian cards. But yeah, the main thing that just jumps out to me is definitely Ornn Touches featuring in the deck, right, as your Earth cards. I do think the majority of rares might be new. Alright, and then we just have Guardian. Again, probably not token generation. There might be auras. Push down, so I don't think Tower will feature in the slightest. Seismic Surge is definitely a old era Guardian thing. Earthlaw Empowerment. So you turn destroy this. Next Guardian attack you play costs 1 less and gets +5. Yeah, I mean Frostbite does lend itself to allowing you to run setups, right? Down the Laura's Tower. Sell your Oakenolds, right? I'm going to call it a 50-50 whether or not they stick in the deck. Because I can see it being exposed to the elements in Oakenold. I can see them doing a different artwork though for Oakenold, so it's not Oldhim. That'd be interesting. Yeah, so that's 18 Majestics already, right? If we then count weapon and equipment, plus 1 legendary, that would be the 23. But I'm more set on, obviously, the 4 that appear and expose the elements. Pulverize. No. I don't think Heave comes back either. I mean, we did get a block. This fan stacking hero, you may search your deck for specifically Mangle. Then you may play it during your next action phase. Oh, that's such a nice effect. Right? That's so much pressure. Avoiding 4, and then you stick their counter on it, you set up for Mangle, and they have to just plan and understand that you're going to get this off relatively easy, right? Because even though you're 1 card down, you found this for free. Definitely want to look into combo potential. Because with the ability to search out Mangle, you could definitely take up setup and try to pull off something big. Blessing of Serenity, Cartilage Crush, Disables. I mean, I'm seeing, Guardian staples, but I don't know if they'll feature in the deck. Some sort of Frost Sigil. Yeah, I think a Frost Sigil, probably in the rare slot. Earth cards with some degree of exposed, right? I'm surprised they didn't do exposed in like black. I guess they're leaving it open because you could have an exposed weapon, right? Slot. Although that'd be hard to define since you have two-handed weapons, you have single-handed weapons, right? But yeah, an Earth card that plays off the exposed effect as well. I still want a Frostbite Consumer though, right? It just consumes all the Frostbite on the board. Remove a -1 counter from a chess piece you have, and Battle Worn and Temper. Just, it's too bad it's Majestic. Temp Authority, if you have 2 or more cards, you pitch them through greater, +1 intellect. Interesting effect. Not good enough. Terra Sunder. Yeah, no. So far, I think this is all I'd be happy to guess with, right? They're the probablys. They're the maybes. They're the, yeah, it kind of fits, right, the theme. So, I would guess reprint legendary, right? Rest of the armor's new, weapons obviously new. At least 5 of these 6, right? And then 1 more set. Shield and one-hander on the giant ass mace, right? Few Earth cards, but not leaning into Earth in the sense of what will end up being the competitive version of the deck, because it's too much to cram into the Armory deck. Again, they want, you know, nice and simplistic to pilot. And yeah, Frostbite back. All right, well, I think that's all we can sort of guess, right? They're pretty sure this is just a zoom in of artwork, right? There's nothing. Actually, no, there we go. We do have some cards featured.
Carnage.
Or could be some cards featured. I don't think any of this artwork looks familiar.
Fed.
No, that's lore. That's the block. Oh. I guess they are saying that is him, right? So what card was that? That was Emerging Avalanche, which was Ice Fusion, go again. If it was fused, create a Frostbite token, and then at the beginning of your action phase, destroy it. Next attack you play this turn gains +3, which helps with the crush effects, right? But wouldn't help with Tower. Tower is just, that's not a big enough buff. So, you know what? There we go. What would they include? Where'd that go? I'll find it later. I'd assume they'll stick the ices in mostly red, right? And then they'll give earth blues. I mean, that's what's logical to me, right? You pitch them away and then they're to play later. Although, in that sense, also pitch the ice aways and play the earths as stronger cards. I can see them doing red and blue. Yeah. Any other?
They feared as deeply as their foe. To kill.
That is Buckle, isn't it? God, I should have watched the trailer first. Yeah, so Buckling Blow is there as well. Again, being equipment reduction and removal. I don't see them putting in the yellows. Just so much cleaner, right? When your curve is just a blue and a red. It's not bad though. Rats, 30 cards. Oh, I keep going the wrong way.
Is human to slaughter his desire, and Jarl Vatredi was filled with the lust for war.
I feel like the arm piece is just going to be something like destroy, create, frostbite token. I don't see them all being, you know, on-game effects. The legendary is probably going to occupy that. Alright, so the question is, am I blind or is this an actual card?
Carnage.
Lion helmet, piked on the side. Guess we go through ice if that was going to be anywhere. Hypothermia? Kinda, but not quite. We're gonna say nope. I would.
Which
This
consumed
is at the end of the next set, right? Going back to Monarch again. This artwork does feature as a card. I would assume the majority of artwork they commission, right, that they use in trailers or anything is always going to show up as a card somewhere. But no Piked Line Man on the side. No. By now we would have seen a copy of it, surely. Kind of like Frigid. Opposing Heroes Additional 1. Yeah, that's going to be a good pickup too. Alright. Still, 30 cards of estimation. And we could probably guess some more as well. I mean, Buckle still feels like a decent Majestic to stick in there as well, if it's not Oakenold, right? Be Oakenold or Buckle. Yeah, but overall what we're seeing is there's a lack of Earth, which it does feel like they need to come up with a new Earth package to synergize with everything he's trying to do. Alright, but I think they'll do. Let's just crack the other crew box. Alright. See if we can find any, right? Mangle is crew as well. Yeah, you can find both Mangle or Righteous Cleansing. You know, it'd be cool though. In the arm slot, something like your next attack gets X, where X is the number of frostbite under opposing hero. That'd be a decent effect. So probably still on a destruction effect. I feel like thematically, all the armor is going to be synergized. And I suppose we could look at the other armory decks and sort of compare the level of effect. Would be the way to look at it. Because even though this seems like it'll be souped up, I feel like it's still going to be around the same sort of level. Alright. If we find anything interesting in this case, you know, I want box for the rubbish. Alright. Rune token to start. Dauntless. Raj Bighorn. I don't think I need the tokens. Put them to the side. Overblast. High speed. Red Liner. If you have no cards in your arsenal, put card from your hand face up into your arsenal. That's interesting. If only the... No, it's the bow effect on Sand Scour that adds aim counters, isn't it? So I was trying... Sorry, I've got the Azalea Armory deck on the brain now. So why did I put these upside down? Alright. Rushing River. Another Dauntless, another Rushing River. Add up. Unified Decree. That weapon gets +3 in the reprise. I suppose that's another thing to think about is who's next? I still think Dromai. I could see them doing one old, one new, one old, one new. I mean, technically, any Dromai would be kind of new, right? Considering she's out of the meta. Oh, her old version is out of the meta. Rajing, cash in, God. Used to be like a decent pickup. A few dollars every crew box for every cash in you find. Yeah, they just go in the boxes with everything else. Sleep Darts, Towering Titan, no M is the main thing there. Hooks, decent. Harmonized, and a Skies. God. Japanese waxing is so slippery. Rush the Week. Speed Impact, I was one up. 2 res. Oh. Klloo Wilson's Workshop. There, and another Dauntless. I just feel like I'm shifted. Yeah, God. Slippery. I feel like I should be more this way. Right? Center? Yeah. Alright, something decent. Oil Courage of Blade Hold. Sword attacks cost 1 less this turn. Does that see use in Kasai on like a big swing turn? I feel like that's just being outcompeted with some chess pieces. I mean, with the draw nerfs for Bolton, though, probably if I was going to take the one from the Armory deck, I'd prefer that now. No, because you take Bolton Sword that doesn't cost anything. Anyway. Then state Dread Trippage, right? If you've played no attack action card, create a rune chant. If you've dealt arcane damage, create a rune chant, and then if it hits, create a rune chant. Decent effect with, what is it, Mordred Tide? Or Benji. Oh, a Feigned Death. I need to crack out my Riptide deck and update it. I just haven't touched it since tomes were outlawed. Volition, 2 rares. Into Bolts, Saber, Rockslide Trap. Titan, Lending Press, That back. And a Kasai. Serenity, Chain Lightning for the Majestic. We'll get larger formats. I mean, UPF is getting pretty popular, right? Alright, nada. Does AMP work with Chain of Lightning, right? Because of the wording? They changed it with the one that procs damage twice, right? Briar Trap, Pitfall Trap, Crane Dance. It looks like there's nothing too juicy in this box. Blood, Vine Center. Crane Dance was last attack. Vine Center can't be defended by cards cost 1 or less. And the number of chain links and gains. If it hits, create a Zen State token. Would have been crazier if that was no attacks on the chain after it. That would kind of work, right? If there was a set of combo cards that were basically front protection instead of protecting themselves. So if it hits, the next card on the chain link can't be defended by X. Alright, well, lucky last for this box. Push forward. Breeze Rider Boots. It's actually a nice ninja card, right? Ninja attacks you control hits, you may destroy it. If you do attack cards with combo, gain go again this turn. As long as you land one, get a whole string of attacks. That's he playing Zen. What was... I feel like he had a different staple boots. The Tiger one, right? Either way, that'll do us, right? Cracked 2 crews. I don't think we got anything too exciting. We can thumb through them quickly. We did get a decent chunk of Emzo. Find Center, Chain Lightning, Feigned Death, Thread, Courage of Blade Hold. Finding the equipment for us is always nice, though. Oaks, Unified Decree. Sledge was just there because we wanted to talk about it. Spinning Blade is also always a nice staple. Crew has some fairly decent staples. Trader, Rattle, Plasma, Beast Within, all Spores of War, another good one, right? Couple will come back one day. Aetherize, Runeblood Barrier, Absorption Dome, and Flood of Force. You know what? I'd be interested to see if anyone would play it. I'd probably play it in some gimmicky form, right? If there was a card that let you convert tokens, right? 3, what would it be like? It'd probably be 2 sets of 2. 2 copper to 1 silver, 2 silver to 1 gold, something like that. That might be a bit busted though. Anyway, leave it there for today. Hope you enjoyed nonetheless. Anyone hanging around or watching posts, thanks as always. But, so you're right. Oh, actually, you know what? I should plug. So I am moving all my Fab content to a separate Fab channel, right? For anyone interested. It's still Klloo, but it's Klloo TCG, right? So I'm pretty sure the link's in the description. If you're interested, all the Fab contents in the future will just be going up on there, once it gets sorted and everything. So just sort of uploading backlogs of previous content. But that's kind of relevant, right? Not going too far back. Anyway, nonetheless, hope you enjoyed. Yeah.